Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode number 30 of Joe and Matty Talk New York
Big
Sports.
3-0.
Yeah, I can't
A
believe it's
long
been
way off.
30 already. I
Yeah,
can't believe it's been 30 already.
yeah, that's been easy going. A little more chaos, but this is one of the more sad ones, knowing that football is over. I did win the pool,
Mixed
Matty, but you
feelings of
saw
that.
me. I was hot with the
Yeah.
picks. You got to give it. I got one wrong in the playoffs. That's pretty good.
Well, you got screwed on that one with the
The
Rams
Bills
against the
game.
Niners. Oh, it
No,
was the Bills
the
game?
Bills game was the only one I lost in the playoffs.
Oh, because you had the Bills for like was it the end
I had the Bills
result?
to win. Because I'm talking about the straight pick and pull and 13 seconds. I could have been. Doesn't matter. I won. I'll take it. It's pretty
Do you
good.
think the Bills would have went to the Super Bowl if they beat the Chiefs? I think they
I,
would have.
I think they would have too. Yeah.
I don't
But
because I don't. I think playing in KC is easier than playing in Orchard Park with how cold it is. Like
well,
KC is cold, but
KC gets pretty cold too. I mean, I think they're both hard places to play. I just think the Bills are a really good team, a better team than the Bengals were, but a very, you know, the Bengals just were missing an offensive line. The Bills kind of had all the pieces in place.
well,
But
I
they
wonder what that feeling's like because like the Bengals look. It was like a storybook. It kind of reminds me of the. What it reminds me of is the Yankees 2017 season. Like
Well,
the
a lot
way.
of people here kept saying, "Oh, the Bengal. I'm gonna take the Bengals. The Bengals remind me of the Giants when they were 9-7 going to the playoffs." Just the fact that, in my mind,
But
it doesn't remind me of them all because it's a very different skill
but the
set of
Giants
team.
were very like defensive. Like that
Yeah,
team
no,
defense basically won them the
I
Super
agree.
Bowl.
That's why it
It
doesn't
was
remind me. But they're
17-14. Like
just saying like a team that was not expected to do anything just keeps pulling off these crazy second
well,
half.
that's where it reminds me of the Yankees because the Yankees in 2017. I just like what comes to mind is they were down 2-0 in the division round to Cleveland. They came back and won it in 5. No one thought that was going to happen. Cleveland was the best team in the league. They were down 4-0 in the seventh inning of Game 4 of the
How do you
ALCS.
remember this stuff?
And Aaron Judge hit like a 430-foot homer to center, and they came back and won 6-4. Like they just wouldn't go away, even though they did lose. We know why for cheating, but
Did
they
you listen
wouldn't
to
go
Aaron?
away.
Did you listen to Judge on his CC's podcast?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It was
Yeah,
terrible. I know. I didn't listen to it. I don't know.
well, that's
I
one
imagine
of
he
the
said
things
a
I was
whole
going to
lot of
bring up for the
nothing.
Yankees.
So let's go
He
into
said a
Yankees.
lot. He said a little, but it meant a lot. Like it.
Well, let's
It
get
was.
in. We'll get into the Yankees right now. The latest that I'm looking at is Major League Baseball saying that they could. Spring training is not dead yet. I think they
No.
have. They said if they could get games by February, or they can make a deal by February 20. Or sorry, it was originally slated to start on February 26th. Um, that date has passed.
Well, the problem is
They need to
you
know by
need a
February
week.
28th, they said, to get to March 31st. But they did
I
say spring
don't.
training could potentially start no earlier than March 5th, which is okay.
That's well. I think I'm actually optimistic about it because
Me too,
they
because they don't want to give up that much money.
so they've determined like okay we're not going to get it by then, but still to me it's February 28th, and you need 7 days. You need a week to get spring training going, to get everything set, everyone there, blah blah blah, to get
Yeah.
spring training going. So to me, I just keep saying it to everyone. February 28th is the day that something needs to be done the latest. And I think it actually might get done earlier because they made a little progress. They've set up a couple more bargaining sessions or whatever they call it, like
Yeah,
arguments.
I mean, it's all bull. It's just ridiculous.
It is, but they now in some of the like Steinbrenner and a couple of the other owners are going to sit in on some of the sessions, which hasn't happened before. So like all this new that stuff's good, but it's
Well,
just no.
that means they're starting to get worried about their money. They need to hear what these people are negotiating on their behalf. I don't know. Obviously, the negotiations are pretty big and in depth, but I had heard at one point like the top 30 players who are, um, not eligible to get money, so they're not free agents, but the top 30 players are going to split a pool of like bonus money so that they get more money, and that the original for pretty sure I might be getting this wrong from Craig Carton, but the owners offered like $15 million to go to that pool.
It's
The
such
the owners or the players asked for like $130 million to go into that pool. So they were
it's such a greedy sport, MLB. It's
well.
really it is.
We've had this discussion. It's not that it's a greedy sport. You just got to put yourself in all of these people's shoes. They all want something more for them.
But they're all making enough.
Say we were getting paid to do this show, right? Somebody came and said they were going to pay us to do the show, and they're like, "We're going to pay Joe $99 an hour. I'm going to pay you $1 an hour." We're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
it'd be annoying. And say the company who was going to pay for us said, "All right, we're going to pay Joe $50. We'll pay you $1, and we're keeping $49 for doing just hosting." Be annoying.
Yeah.
So, like the players, yes, is $50 million a year insane? Yes, but when you see the owners like making $1 billion, it's like, hey, shouldn't it be equal? You guys took the risk, invested in the team. We're the reason this league exists. So. It's
like
just it's such big money. It's insane. They should take these profits and be rolling them into something else, but that's never going to happen.
Well, what bothers me is that like I don't feel like there's enough players who are vocal about like wanting. Like it seems like most of them actually would. Most players would suspend and not play just to get the better half of the deal, which is ridiculous because like you're losing.
Well, because it's the players that come up for a week. It's the players that have like 1 year in the league and might not make it to another team, that have bounced around to a million teams. They're the ones who want to get the extra money so that career could be extended.
It's their choice. They wanted to play in the MLB. They made that they made that goal. They want to play in the MLB.
Their thing is the guys at the top are making $50 million a year. We're making $600,000 a year, and we're contributing to the team as well. Everyone has their own.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. Okay, but like
just walk yourself in other people's shoes, and you'll see that like there's jealousy. They want this stuff that other people have. That is everywhere. It could be
like what do they?
At your job, there's got to be two people who. One thinks that they should be earning more than the other because they do more work.
But if there's no Aaron Judge, there's still the Yankees. If there's no Hal Steinbrenner, there's no Yankees. Like that's what.
Well, that's what the owners say. But you didn't live during the lockout. If the owner said, "All right, we don't care about you players. We're going to bring in all new players from college or whatever and pay them," and that's what they did during the 1 year, would that be as exciting to you? It's still the Yankees. They called me up, and like guys like me out there. I mean, I'm sure they'd find much better talent, but you know what I'm saying. Would that still? No. That's the whole sticking point right there. Is how much is it people like Aaron Judge or people in the NBA like LeBron? How much their stardom is the reason we watch the league? Would we watch okay football? Probably. you know.
We watch terrible football every year.
Yeah,
and we still watch it. Like,
you might not know the difference in greatness that much, but still, that's the argument: is how much value is the athlete bringing to it, or are they easily replaceable versus the owner who made the investment? And I don't think you're going to ever get people to agree on that because they're all fighting. People like us think they're crazy. They're all making tons of money. Why can't they just cut it in half, be done with it, so we can watch the game? Because we're the ones who suffer. Like, but that's life.
And then going back to what Judge said on CC Sabathia's podcast, he said that it would be great to get a deal done before the regular season starts. And he said, if not, and this is my last year with the Yankees, I've had a lot of great memories. I didn't like that. I did not like that at all.
What do you want him to say?
But I didn't like what the following thing he said too is that he's like, my job is just to play as great as I can for like it didn't seem like he had he did say the Yankee I love playing for the greatest organization in the league.
Yeah, but this is where you not having the same amount of life experience. So listen, when you're out looking for jobs, the biggest way people and adults get more money in a raise is because somebody else offered them a better deal, and then their company has to choose: am I going to pay that amount of money to keep you or let you walk? And that happens in real life all the time. Aaron Judge is, if he goes out and say, I only want to be a Yankee, I love the Yankees, I'll do anything to stay Yankees, Yankees, the Yankees know they have him. They know they don't have to pay him as much. They know he doesn't, like, it's all leverage and negotiation. Aaron Judge is much more civil, but, you see it all the time. What did Aaron Rodgers, you start flirting with other teams. You start, like, every star does it. They start, like, looking, hinting little message. Oh, sorry. But I'm going to mute and let you go for a second.
Yeah, well, I've said this before to you, and I said this with the Rangers. I'm not a Yankees fan anymore if they don't sign him, because it's the easiest decision you can make as an owner or a GM. That's like signing Zibanejad and Fox.
Wait, just take a pause there. Can we rewind 5 minutes? And you said if Aaron Judge is not there, it's still the Yankees.
No, I meant if he says I'm not playing because of like all these rules in the bargaining agreement, and he's like still with the team but not playing, it's still the Yankees. If he leaves, yes, it is still the Yankees, but not my Yankees. No, like.
Well, see, you just made the point for the players is they need to. So if he if he walks away because the Yankees didn't pay him, you're going to blame the ownership. But what if he's asking for $400 million and the Angels say they're going to do it, and it's an insane move? It's not a good move.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and watch them unload the bank $324 million.
Well, that's what I'm
Garrett
saying.
Cole, who sucks,
Everyone has limits. Everyone has restrictions. So,
well, if the Yankees could afford,
make a good offer.
If they could afford LeMahieu, Stanton, and Cole, if they could all pay those guys, not even LeMahieu, if they could afford Stanton and Cole, you can afford. There's no way Judge wants more than $350 million. Absolutely. Okay, he wants it, but there's no way he's worth. No one in the MLB is worth more than that.
You're missing your own point. Like, they've already paid several people hundreds of millions of dollars. You can't pay everyone $300 million contracts. That's the problem with the Stanton contract. And when you bring in Cole, you can't have a whole lineup of $100 million players. Your payroll is only.
That's not the issue.
The Yankees physically can.
The issue is that. Yeah. Yeah.
You cut out there, so I don't know what you say, but you might want to repeat it.
They could if. No, but they could, and because I disagree with what you said, because a lot of Yankees fans say that the Stanton contract's not a mistake. You didn't hear me correctly then. Watching him.
It's not that any of those contracts, whether they're right or wrong, I could care less. Like, it could be the best deal ever. Like, it could be the biggest discount. The problem is you have a budget. You could only spend so much money till it's insane. Like with the luxury tax, I don't know what the luxury tax will be set at, but say it's $220 million. Every dollar you go over it, you're paying double in tax.
So but they go over it anyways. They go over it anyways, though.
They do it anyways. The last couple of years. They had to reset it.
Owners do.
No, they don't. There's like 3 owners who go. Boston goes over it. The Angels go over it. The Dodgers blow through it. But most of the league
can pay it though. Steinbrenner still can pay that money with how much he brings in with the Yankees.
But that's like saying, "Hey, Matty, we're both going to go to the Yankee game. Sit in the same seats. Your seat's $500, my seat's $50 because you could afford it." That's baloney. That's crap. Just because you could afford it. Was he supposed to unload every penny out of his pocket to spend on a salary for a team just because it's ridiculous? It's no guarantee you're going to win.
But
look at George Steinbrenner paid All the
But you
celebrity people.
have to but this is their problem. You should have been planning for this. Like this was inevitable. This was inevitable. Like him becoming.
That's a different. I find it hard to believe that the Cashman and the team didn't think about this long term, and they haven't already have a plan. They can't negotiate right now because of this. I'm sure they have a plan. There's a number in their mind. Look, they want to keep Aaron Judge. It's so true. But you can't be the delusional.
If you don't
fan
keep
and just
him, you
say,
can't.
"Hey,
You can't make the. You can't make the playoffs if you don't keep
you
him.
can make I bet if you get a pitcher, you could a solid pitcher, and you spent $300 million on a pitcher instead of Judge, you could make the playoffs. Look at the teams who have won the World Series. The Rays. Do they have anyone?
The Braves lived off of. The Braves
pitching.
lived.
Not last year's Braves. I'm thinking when you say the Braves, I'm thinking of the Smoltz, Maddox, that era Braves.
Freeman, so. Like they live off of like guys like Freeman.
Yeah,
Jorge Soler had a career postseason. Like
but the Yankees are loaded guys hitting. So
but you take away Judge if you do not add anyone this
just keep making
and you
the
take
point
away
over
Judge.
and over of how important someone like Judge is to the league and why the players earn more.
Yeah, but I don't.
I
don't give a damn whatever the player like.
I know you don't care what the owner.
It should be what the fans want. It should be what the fans want, not what they want.
But it's not the fans' money.
But they've been doing this. They've been doing this since '94. They've been doing this same agreement since '94. What was wrong with it? Like that. That's what I don't understand. Why are they so opposed to it if they didn't protest it?
But who are you
saying 20 years
to it?
Because the last time they had this was '94.
Are you saying players or owner? That's what I just want to understand.
I'm saying players.
The players.
Current agreement so much. Why did they not do what they did in 1994? That's what I'm saying. If they didn't like it enough to the fact that they would stay, like if they didn't like it but they stayed on the field, that means they didn't like it that much. Like, because you saw what they did in '94. They said, well, I'm not playing. But these guys under this agreement for a couple of decades are still playing.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why don't they stick with the same thing?
Do you want to stick with the same rules and salary? You just turned, 15 to 16, and you got an increase in your salary. I'm taking that away. Why wouldn't you want to just stay with the same rules? Since 1994,
okay, that's like we're talking about a sport though, like that.
So pick anything, like a house. You know what a house cost in '94 versus today?
Probably almost half, maybe
way more.
Probably more.
Yeah, like inflation's
probably 1/3. No, not including inflation. Go from like 3 years ago. Say like 2019.
Well, you're not saying. You're saying 1994. Things have gotten a lot different since 1994.
No, but now there's a lot of inflation. I was saying 2019.
Every year is inflation. Every year.
I know, but this year is like higher than.
You're just
this year, like that's all they're saying.
You're hearing that from the news and probably the wrong channels. There is inflation this year, but that's all coming from the overspending from the previous 3 years. Regardless, we're not talking about politics here. The fact is, anyone in any job, in any industry, whether you're collecting garbage, you're a teacher, you're a finance, whatever it is, no one's accepting the same contract from 1994 and to now. Everybody wants.
But it's not 1994. It's when they made a deal. I don't know how often it is, but every time there has been a time where there could have been a lockout, they agreed to the new deal before the offseason begins, and they didn't this year. And that means it's been like 3 or 4 times renewed. Yeah. No,
yeah, but
if I look up how often, what is it, a CBA expire in baseball? It's probably I don't know how many. I would think it's like let's see. It's 6 years, I think.
Okay.
Wait,
but
no, that's
what happens in those? I don't know what the deals are, but it doesn't make any difference. each in the last couple years, where do you watch baseball?
What do you mean? On TV? It's 5 years. So like this one has been renewed
But
multiple times.
but listen to me. When you were growing up, where did you watch baseball? On what?
On TV.
On your regular TV, right?
Yeah.
Now do you see baseball on its own baseball cable network on MLB.com? Do you see baseball on Amazon games? Do you see things all over the place with different types of social media and interactions? Do you see the cost of tickets for the games skyrocket and go up? Do you see the television deals that these MLB owners signed go through the absolute moon because they could sell to multiple places like Amazon? So the owners are making a lot more because the world changes. I'm not defending the owners. I'm just saying you're running at it like but you're just running at a fan like just do it, just sign, and they'll come to a deal. And
but you like the thing
Major League Baseball viewership is up 48% since 2020. It's with MLB's more than 2.8 billion live view game minutes.
But
they're making money on all of that. The little commercial ads and
I don't. This is I
think
don't
this
like
is you have
with the players. It's ridiculous though. Like okay, yes, obviously, if I'm in a scenario where I could have, but like if I'm in a scenario where I make 50 million and I have an opportunity to make 80, would I like to do that? Yes. But at the end of the day, I'm filthy rich. I can do whatever I want. They can do. I don't care. They can all be every player. Almost every player in the Yankees can be sent to the streets right now and do whatever they want.
Will you take the lesser deal at the cost of someone you don't like getting the money? So I don't know you to not like anybody.
But if they're trying to take it from like if they're arguing like where you're making all the money, well, why would you be making money off TV deals and how much money people watch baseball? Yes, okay, they're watching you, but you're paid to play baseball, not for people to watch you play baseball.
Yes, they are.
Okay,
if they played and it wasn't on TV and you only went to the game, would it be anywhere near the salaries?
They shouldn't be playing then, because if you're more focused about making money off of people watching you on TV than actually playing the sport that you are skilled at,
you're missing the point. You're missing
the point because they don't have these other issues in other sports. That's what.
Well, you're totally delusional there. They do have these issues in all these sports. NHL's had. Look it up. NHL
has, but they do not now. And they make much less. Zibanejad makes what? Is he on an 8-year deal? He doesn't even make $100 million over that span.
Because the NHL does not make the same amount of money that Major League Baseball does.
He's
NBA.
more skilled at his sport than judges.
That doesn't matter. There is a gardener in your neighborhood who might be the most skilled gardener in the world. He's not getting the opportunity because no teachers are super talented. They get highly underpaid for their job. Everything is not fair. We would all love it to be. It's not.
I know, but
you're being crazy.
It's a waste of time. Is what's happening.
We all agree that what inevitably happens is the fans always get screwed. That's what's going to happen. The consumer is the one who's screwed, always. Because, look, when you own a business in your life, it's a lot harder to give away the money that you think you're working. If you get along with your employees, you also want to pay them money to bring them along. Everyone wants to better their situation, and that's the problem. It's never a nice work. What would be great is if they said, here's all the profits, let's put them in a pool and hack them up 50-50. That's nice. But then the Yankees go, hey, I'm spending $225 million a year. I draw the most fans. I have great TV ratings. I have my own cable network, and the Red Sox could say the same thing. The Dodgers could say the same thing. Then I got to spend this money and share it with the Tampa Bay Rays, who don't spend on any salaries, sit in empty stadiums. I'm carrying them along. But then again, if you didn't have teams like the Rays, there's no one to play against, and there's no competition. So
But
that's
their fault. That's their fault.
that's
That's
whose
their
fault?
fault. The
No, but
Rays. That's their fault.
you're,
But okay. But you
you don't
also play
understand
in
the economic.
Tampa. You play in Tampa. The Yankees play in New York. Like that plays a part. That definitely plays a part in it
But
because
that plays a part in their inability to pay the same.
well, like, but also the thing is,
They don't draw
if
fans
I'm facing
and
in
draw.
September, if I'm saying, okay, I could either go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game or a Tampa Bay Rays game, or I could go to a New York Giants game or a New York Yankees game, I would pick the Buccaneers and I'd pick the Yankees. Why? That's
Man, we're going to have to move on because you're not understanding the math of this situation.
but look,
You're putting
it's just
emotion.
thinking about the
No,
Yankees and their
but take.
players asking for more. When we had to sit through and watch the
But we don't. You don't know.
BS that they play on the field last year,
But you
no,
don't. You're
no.
wrong. You don't know what the Yankees. You don't know what the Yankees players are asking. The players' union's job is to represent all the players. Now,
The MLBPA is stupid too.
Well, I
Just like
can't
the owners.
disagree, but that's who they vote for. I don't know what they're pushing for, but it's
I
naive of
mean,
you to say like when someone's like the Yankees hate the fact that the Rays don't spend money. That's why they had to make a minimum cap. Yet they're still successful, but they're not drawing anywhere near the revenue for Major League Baseball that the Yankees, the
well,
Dodgers, and these teams.
it's
But they get
corrupt.
what?
It's corrupt, and it shows
It's not
time and
corrupt.
it
You're
is.
just
You look at these. The MLB does this constantly. They make the wrong decisions every time. Every time there's a decision to be made, the right one is not made.
you don't
That is what is right. I mean, it starts
understand.
from times when Rob Manfred calls the World Series trophy a piece of metal. Well, you know what though? The Vince Lombardi and the Stanley Cup are revered. It's those people, they see it as an honor to even lift it or hold it. Yet their
You're
commissioner doesn't give a you know what about the trophy. It's an example. I'm not saying that's what it's
no,
about, but
but
I'm saying.
I think
But then it comes to the MLBPA saying no, the Houston players will not face any punishment when it was a player-driven scheme. Like, how does that make it? No, I'm just saying that. My point is, that I'm saying that time and time again, the MLB commissioner's office and the Players Association are idiots who are keeping their job and they make the wrong decision all the time. They never make the right decision.
let's move on.
No, but like I'm not trying
Let's
to attack everyone. I'm just saying that I was just giving examples that they don't,
yeah,
and that's why it's
all
frustrating
these
because they never
all
make the right decisions.
well, never is a strong word. Nobody talks about decisions when they're right. You'll learn that as you go in life. People harp on the negative always and never talk. I'm not defending the Major League Baseball for making good decisions. I agree with you. They make some really silly ones all the time, and you get silly decisions because they make money-based decisions. They try to juice the baseball and not tell anybody, and the whole league knows it. They change the stitching, and nobody knows it. Like they just need to
But
leave
it's
the
also
rules.
the only sport that has stuff like this. I'm not saying other
That I
sports don't have.
disagree. I
No, I'm
disagree
not
100.
saying other sports don't have their issues, but you never see like okay, you talk about the Deflategate. You never see the NFL saying like, oh, we like I know this doesn't make any sense.
What
But like,
about the
oh,
NFL just went through the passing interference penalty that cost the Saints going to the Super Bowl? What about the penalty in the Super Bowl we
But
just watched where the guy
that's an
grabbed the face
official
mask?
issue though. That's a
But
refereeing
it's now
issue.
happened like a couple years in a row. Why haven't they addressed it?
But
It's
those are
human
the
beings. It's human beings. We're
but
fans. We're going to be angry when it doesn't go our way and when the players don't play, and we're going to feel that they're greedy, and they are. But bottom line is, it's just a bunch of human beings trying to get what they can. And I would
it's
like you
just
to,
it's
after this show, go back and Google the NHL lockout and see how that did. That's what cost. They asked for so much, they totally blew it, and they end up getting no money, and that's why they're so
no,
far.
I know of that, but they also still but like okay, they obviously don't bring as much revenue in as other sports in America, but they still for what they're doing,
I know, but
So,
how about an artist? Like you see a terrific artist, like you're walking through a fair or something. It could be incredible. Doesn't mean you're going to get paid for it. The right person
but
has
that's
to
the
find you to
industry.
pay you.
That's the industry.
Well, that's the sports industry too.
I know, but
There
like you're talking it, but like
there are a lot of great. Pick another. Look at the Olympics right now. Oh yeah, like that person's the greatest bobsledder in the world. They're not making any money. They're working at
well,
school.
there's
The
because there's
greatest
no like
curler in the.
bobsled league. Like there's no
Well,
like
that's what I'm saying. There's
because
decisions for everyone. You
people
decide
don't.
to play hockey, you have to know that hockey's not as popular. You go to the NBA, you know you're going to make a
But
gazillion
that's
dollars.
okay because they still make great money. Like
Oh, I'm not.
whatever you do in like that's what's
So I
frustrating.
don't
And
understand. I don't understand your point then, because that's what I'm saying is they make great money. All these people.
it's everything. It's both sides. No, I get it. Like that's the sports industry. Like, and I completely understand
It's all industries,
why baseball player. Like, I understand why they make more.
but
I understand.
it's not just sports. Like when your teachers they strike to get more money, and a lot of people criticize them, say how could you dare do this to our students? You can't. You're going to lock them out of going to school so that you get a couple more dollars, and they deserve that money. And they truly
Okay, but
do. So,
that's also you're talking. But like that's also talking. Like we're talking
but
about
it's based on.
millions of dollars
I
in
I know,
sports.
but you forget it's just that's when it gets millions, people get nastier. It's more aggressive because people hold on to it tighter. You'd be surprised. People who are a lot more generous usually have a lot less. It's sad.
But like,
Well,
but
let's
what?
go back. I'm sick and tired of talking about strikes and
No, but
player.
to sum it up, I'm just saying though, like what makes me annoyed is that my point of view, I don't think the players deserve to be crying all this like boohoo like with
But
with what they want,
the
and I don't
crying is how
understand with
they're
them.
negotiating. It's a negotiating tool. If they
But
sat there and
then
said we're happy, they'd
no, I know
get
that,
a
but
good deal.
I still don't get it though. And then the owners, they already are filled up to their teeth in cash. Like that's also something that pisses me off. And then it's also the MLB and their commissioner's office and the players association. They're stupid. Like
So don't
that's all.
watch
Like
baseball.
this
So
has
don't
been
watch
built
baseball.
up. This has been built up frustration for years just to just
This has been going on for all of
learn
our.
about what a lockout was this year,
Yeah,
just
but
to
this is
add to
going
it.
on
Like,
long before you. We like this has happened in since there's been business. Like
well, I
every
do
sport
have
is.
positive baseball. I do have very positive baseball
Well,
news
can we get some sort of positive news? This boring contract talk.
that Glaber Torres and Gio Urshela all week on Instagram and social media have been posting with Didi Gregorius in the cages on the field all week. It's not like one day thing. And Didi Gregorius a couple weeks ago posted something on like Instagram about like posted a picture of his like an old moment as him on the Yankees with Glaber Torres. I'm not saying that means anything, but that would be a way for the Yankees to win back some support from their like some love from their fans. And
But can you
that's on a
explain to me
silver
what is the
platter.
lineup? If we,
Easy. That's it.
okay,
Easy.
who's
You
third?
send Urshela, Gold Glove,
Okay, Gio. Then you're gonna put him at short, and then who's playing second?
LeMahieu, and Torres. Mostly Torres.
And then where's LeMay? Who is going to play first again?
DH.
You're gonna
John
put one of the
Giancarlo
best.
Stanton is in very good shape to play the outfield. Very good shape.
I know, but you're gonna put LeMay, one of the best defenders in the league, as a DH. The guy who could play
Well,
every single position in the infield.
he could split time with Torres, get like a couple starts at first,
So
and play
then
DH.
Voit, you got to get rid of. I
Voigt's
don't.
gone anyways. He sucks.
You're so terrible. Like he sucks.
No,
He was
he's
he led the league in home runs
what?
two years ago, and
Well,
last year he had
that's
no.
COVID year. That's fake stats. COVID year.
Yeah, yeah, but still, he doesn't suck. He had a bad knee. It's not
Well,
get
okay,
crushed.
I take it back. He's very dimensional. That's what I'll say. He has
He's a
one thing
slugger.
going for him,
Yeah, he's not a
and
great
that's home
defender.
runs.
That's a little fair. Yes. Saying he sucks it was pretty harsh for a guy over 30 home runs in a short
No,
stretch.
he was one of you can add it to the list of one of those things of one of the players that Cashman one of That's a steal. What they got for Voit and what he did for
Him and
3
Urshela were
years.
just
Yeah, he
ridiculous.
was amazing. For
Yeah,
Urshela to me is
we don't
bigger.
need to say he sucked. We just it's time to move on.
No, I said that because I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of
I
him.
like him. I like him. I thought he had. I mean, last year was bad, but he had some clutch moments, and he
He
always
brought
played with fire, brought
he brought some
energy.
good stuff to I
I
like
just
when the
don't.
players bring energy. I do like that. That's what I did like about him.
I would.
But
I don't know what the lineup should be. I would almost try Urshela at short, put LeMahieu at third, and Torres at
I
second.
it makes me want to throw up how Urshela hasn't won a Gold Glove. I don't think
Nah,
Judge has
who
won a Gold
cares?
Glove. No, but still,
Well, Judge is not
Look,
going to win.
I love I love Brett Gardner, but he won a Gold Glove and left. He's a decent defender, terrible arm. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Judge can get like enough. They kind of always want the diving, fancy plays. I mean,
Judge
I
is a
don't know.
cannon. Like
He has a
he
cannon.
and he's
He's
but
he's he's a good defender. I just feel like Gold Gloves. It's so hard because there's always someone who has a crazy season.
yeah, but
It's
like
like the home
to
run
quote like
title.
John Smoltz said, and this is a really good point. John Smoltz in the 2019 ALDS, he made a it was game 3 in Minnesota, and I think they had like first and second one out. Someone hit a laser, and Judge caught it, but only because he could use his 6'7" frame, and like because he like got almost
Yeah,
over his head, and then he did something. Had like a double play that caught Bregman at first in like the game 1 of the ALCS, and John Smoltz said he's like, do I think Mookie Betts is a very good right fielder? Yes. He's like, but Aaron Judge can make plays in right field that no one else can because of his size. And
that's
that's
true.
what puts him apart. Like, and he said on that play in Minnesota, he's like, I don't think anyone can make that play besides Judge.
Yeah, but there's only so many balls hit like that. Like maybe it's just me biased, but I feel like whenever they judge the award for outfielders, it's always some guy with huge speed who just tracks down balls and has a highlight reel of like running down a couple diving catches, jumping up the wall. Judge, when he jumps up the wall, he just like barely just reaches.
Well, that's what Gardy mastered, like the basket catch. Like he could do that really well.
Yeah, and I feel like those flashy plays are what wins. That's what always wins. It's not necessarily like I agree to you. Like Judge is solid; he's going to keep runners moving there, but you don't get. I don't know. I guess
Well, and
statisticians.
I agree with you. The lineup issue is an issue, but it's also a good issue. And if you bring Gregorius back,
I know. I'm a LeMahieu fan, and I don't like the idea of him not having a solid spot in the lineup, and that's what
well,
Gregorius comes.
he still has to prove though. Like I think he's good. He has to prove he did not have a good year last year.
I know.
That is true. To his standards,
But
he did
what
not have a good
to
season last year.
his standards? Jeepers, creepers! You're a
His
tough guy.
standards
Would
is
you would just fire everyone after 1 year?
but if you're telling me, okay, he had 2
Well,
seasons
look
of
at his
above
career
300
numbers.
hitting. Well, that's different.
The year before, they were like screaming he's going to be the MVP. Like,
No, he very well could be the MVP. It's
well,
just
that's what I'm saying. Like let's ease off the gas, like
in
firing
his,
these
but no,
guys and
I'm just
send them
saying
to the bench.
in
Like,
his standards, he did not have a good year last year.
it was not.
His
But that's
standards.
what I'm saying. Like, but I also feel that's because the lineup was so like all of like.
It was a terrible lineup. You cannot have
It was just
Andrew
not
Velasquez,
consistent.
Odor.
And there
Yeah,
was like no one knew
yeah.
where they were playing. Not that I'm saying you have to have the same lineup every night, but the guys got to kind of get into a rhythm in baseball. It's such a long season, I feel, and every night it was like some random throw together because they did stats and LeMahieu's here, this part of the line. Just put him in a lineup and give it a stretch for a while.
Yeah, well,
See
the
where it
Yankees
goes.
will be back once you get Hicks and you figure out the first base scenario. Then the Yankees they'll come back to what they are. I don't like him, but whatever. He's got a good arm. But I do
I
want
know, but
to still touch on the Rangers.
I'm already seeing him strike out. Like, it's going to be man on second.
He's a good defense. Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's why I want
slider
Didi
in the
back.
dirt.
Like
I love Didi.
I love his swing.
I just know you can't get. You gotta. I would love to see them actually package and make a decent trade. Like,
well, that's where
I would give up a Torres and package it. Maybe you get Torres and LeMahieu, or not LeMahieu and Voit, and a prospect, and maybe you could get someone
for Olsen. I would do that for Olsen. I would do Torres. I would do Torres for Olsen.
Yeah, and maybe something like that works. but I don't know. I feel like they have too many infielders that deserve to play in the infield. But anyway, because we've gone crazy over. Let's get into your Ranger take. Last night was brutal. These games are insane.
It's I in the same way yesterday till I woke up and came to some I calmed myself because I was I don't know because I was sitting this morning. I was like, I can't believe we lost that game, and I gotta wait till Sunday. But it was those two games are very eye opening for a certain reason, and it shows. Those are the first couple games I'd say this year in a row that have really brought out the weakness of the Rangers. And I don't know if people really realize that, but I remember we did an episode a couple episodes ago going into the All-Star break, and we talked about where the Rangers were stats wise, and they were top 10 in power play and penalty kill, top 10 in goaltending stats, and all that, and it was great. And they still the goaltending you saw, but the 5-on-5. They can't. The Rangers had one power play in the third period against the Boston Bruins.
They've kind of come out flat in both games though, and they're coming off a 2-week break, so I'm not gonna hit the panic button yet.
No, but I'm saying though it brings out the issue. It brings out the problems. They had chances. They had chances against Boston, and they did yesterday. They did not finish yesterday. They did not finish on those chances. I'm not saying you need to finish on every one of those, but there should be at least one or two that those have to go in the back of the net. Like where you have a 3-on-1 with when you have Zibanejad, Kreider, and Lafreniere up the ice for a 3-on-1, that's got to be in the back of the net. I'm sorry, you work on that every day in practice, but
goalies save them.
And
even breakaways. I don't know what is the percentage for a great goalie on breakaways, but in that game.
But it shows the issue though. You
could say that for the other team because Shesterkin shut down some unbelievable shots, and he shut down a breakaway late in the game that would have caught.
But that's not for other teams. I'm just saying, looking into the depth of the Rangers, a team that has struggled with 5-on-5 scoring all season, and that's what ultimately what cost them yesterday, is that they couldn't find one other goal that would have changed it.
But do you think that's fatigue or rust or just that's?
I think it was rust against the Bruins. I don't think it was rust yesterday. I think they were sluggish in the first 10 minutes of the game, and then they had chances and they just couldn't. I thought entering the first intermission yesterday, I thought it could have been 3-1. All honesty, I thought if the Rangers played,
that always happens. You watch these games, pick a sport long enough, and you're just like, they should have had that. It happens when it happens.
It shows though. All I'm saying is that it's brought to light now. That's what I noticed is that, and the one goal they did score on was one. It was a good play by Keandre Miller. It was kind of maybe I guess you could say a defensive breakdown and a tough one for a goalie, but that was kind of a broken play, I guess you could call it. So look, Thomas Greiss he's played great against the Rangers' career, played good yesterday. But my point
is, by the way, did you see his helmet?
Yeah. And cool. my point is they've struggled 5-on-5 scoring, and they've been great in special teams. And when they were faced with those 3 penalty kills, they were outstanding. And immediately within the first 20 seconds of their power play, they scored their only power play. So that's and they had great goaltending. So I feel like these two games, especially yesterday, show exactly what the season's been. Outstanding. It's just outstanding special teams. They just I thought the refs were against them yesterday. That's my opinion.
No, if you listen to Boomer and Gio, Boomer's always like, screw the Ranger button and just hit it because but every fan thinks they're screwed.
Well, no, but the fact, I'm not worried. Yes, I don't want the Rangers to be shorthanded, but they're really good shorthanded. Yeah. But my problem was just, I'm gonna look. I was saying yesterday. I said to my dad when it was 2-1. All honesty, you can ask him this. I'm not saying I'm right at everything. I said the difference in this game is that the Rangers haven't had a power play yet, and I said you watch, they'll score quick. All honesty, I said that, and then they did. They scored. And who else can sit here and say, well, they wouldn't score again if they got another one? Just one more. That. Yeah, I know it's what ifs. I'm just saying that.
But also, the odds are they wouldn't score because they don't score 50% of the time on the power play. So the odds are the next time they wouldn't score. That's where it gets
Yeah, well,
tricky with that math again. But let me ask you a question. Listen to Boomer Esiason this week. He said the Rangers should target Mark Scheifele from the Winnipeg Jets.
absolutely. Mark Scheifele, of
Yeah.
course. Outstanding scorer. But again, what this shows, like bringing that 5-on-5 issue to light, that shows that a deal. Maybe you don't need a big rental, or actually, honestly, maybe you do. That doesn't. They have cap space.
Well,
Yes,
they don't really have cap space.
no,
The
they have
space
it,
they
but
have has got to go to pay people. So like it's
no,
basically out.
but they have space for a rental. They don't
Oh,
have
for a rental, yes.
for
For
what the
this,
cap space you're saying.
as long
They
as
don't
it
have
doesn't carry into next year, you're right.
they don't have space to go into the offseason and say, I want to sign, I want to make a
Well,
big
his
couple of
contract,
signings. No, but
that guy, well, I can't pronounce his name.
Shifley,
Shifley. He has 3 years left, 6.12 million a season. So if you're going to trade him like Strome or someone's got it, like someone who's going to have at least a $4.5 million cap hits going the other way. I mean, I started researching him. That guy lays some monster hits on the top of scoring.
the goal he slowed down, but I remember in 2018, maybe 2019, the guy you look at Winnipeg Jets games, every other game he's scoring. Like,
well, he has leading score. He's got 63 points in 56 games.
well, I think here's my thing. You're gonna hate this, but do you know how good a Claude Giroux would be for the Rangers right now?
We're not. He doesn't want to be here, and we don't want to be.
But
this is my
why would you want to stay in Philly right now? They suck. Like
he's about to play like his 1000th game in Philly. No, he asked to go to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this wrong. I feel like he asked to go to Colorado. There was 2 teams he kind of wanted to go to. I don't know if he has a no trade where he has to say.
Phil Kessel's like it's gonna be a weird comparison. He's like a canker sore in your mouth that doesn't go away. Like I remember that from watching him against the Rangers.
It's a wonderful analogy.
He does not go away. Like that's why he's sneaky good. He's not really good. He's sneaky.
But are
good.
you going to give up Strome for this person? Like, are you willing to if the person
after listening to Twitter yesterday with Strome, people go already unloading. Trade him, Mr. Open Net, trade him. No, I don't. I love Strome. I wouldn't.
Well,
I wouldn't.
My fear about getting rid of Strome is if you're going to tell Panarin, I'm going to get rid of your buddy, you better bring him somebody really talented. Like that's.
Or you could put him on the first line with Zibanejad and Kreider.
I know, but from what I read in the papers and whether that's true or not, is that Strome and him are really good buddies, and
you don't want to. That is a very big mistake. That is a very big move that I don't know.
You mean get rid of his friend, right? I mean, I just think of like where I work, or in different careers. If certain people
it's a very dangerous move.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a very risky move.
So if you do it, you better get somebody really good where he can't be like, all right, that's my buddy, but I'm bringing in an all-star that could potentially win the cup.
What really hurts right now is Sammy Blais being gone because he's a physical guy who can score in the bottom 6.
It's funny. You're just like Boomer. He said the same thing. He said that injury is hurting right now because that's what they need.
Well, and Barclay Goodrow, I can't say enough about him.
He's been Reeves.
Awesome. But it's just what worries me is when I watch. Like I worry too much because they've had such a great year. But just what worries me is like they're 31-13-5, yet they're 6th in the Eastern Conference.
That's all right. It's as long as they're going to be things will level. Things will start.
These teams won't stop. Okay, you are 2 points ahead of 7, which is you have separation from 8, which is Boston. You're 2 points ahead of the Capitals, but you also have 3 games in hand of them. So I'm not worried about that. But you have 2 games in hand on Pittsburgh. You're down by 3 points.
Pittsburgh, I worry.
Carolina has 2 games in hand on the Rangers. Toronto, I think, has a game in hand on the Rangers. Same amount of games played as the Panthers.
I think they just got to get to the playoffs.
I do. It's just I did.
I know. You want to be
I
number
like.
one
I
seed. You
really
want them
think
to
no.
dominate.
I
Yeah,
think they're a 4 seed. I just want a 4 seed. Like I
so
think
they
they're
could
a
play
four
at home.
seed. Yeah, because that makes the difference. I mean, they've been a
I
great
think.
road team.
Look, they're gonna do something at the deadline. I'd be shocked if they didn't. I am extremely curious to know what it ends up being.
But also, though, I don't know. Like, you obviously don't want to take a big cap hit, but at the end of the day, Philip Hedl and another young guys are Philip Hedl and say Morgan Barron are very, very good assets that many teams would want, and that the Rangers
No,
don't necessarily need.
well, that was where that Larry Brooks hinted on that Scheifele trade because they said that it's a team that a lot of people love. The Rangers they're loaded with prospects. It's just it's tough to trade prospects. You don't know which
Well,
one's gonna. You're
no,
scared that you're gonna trade them and they're gonna go be a superstar somewhere else.
well, that's true, but like. I'm willing
I'm
to
ready
take
to
that
give up on
risk with Philip Hedl. Philip
Yeah,
Hedl is now entering his third,
I'm willing to
fourth
move
year
on
with
from
it.
Beetle if someone's gonna give us something good for it. I agree.
Morgan Barron's at risk, but right now, what you're looking at, if you're Drury's seat, which I am very, I did not get why they unloaded the bank last year, not the bank, why they unloaded everything last year, but maybe it does, maybe it makes sense because the Rangers brought in good, like Drury brought in these
Yeah, well,
guys,
he
and now
brought
the
in a
Rangers are
different.
ultimately better. Like,
Yeah. Well, everyone made fun of the deals that he paid a little too much for these, but these are the character guys, the Reeves, the Goodrows that the team really needed. You can't
but
survive on stars alone in all big $300 million contracts. You need
well,
certain
you
mix of
could love
players.
on Jeff Gorton and JD. Yeah, maybe they mean a lot to the Rangers, but they didn't make those deals. They didn't make those deals were the ones that say
They
okay.
made some. I thought they made some good deals, to be honest with you.
No, they did, but say the Rangers had Reeves and Goodrow 2019, they would have been a playoff position almost all year.
They could have really used those type of players. I agree.
That
I think Gorton and JD Gorton especially did a good job drafting, did a good job making some deals. Maybe free agents. I mean, how can I argue with free agents? Like, well,
no, and
they
when
brought
you
in
sit
Panarin
and
last year, but I agree they made the wrong chemistry of the team. You can't have all one type of player. You can't have all fast guys. You can't have all tough guys. There has to be balance so that you could line up against other teams. And then when the Rangers got push came to shove, they got pushed around bad last year. And Drury,
and it
I
was
see.
embarrassing, and that to
Yeah,
me
that's why Drury went
that's
out to
why they
address.
got fired. That's why all three of them
That's
got fired, in my opinion.
100%. Wilson got them fired.
And that's why I love Ryan Reeves so much. I just wish like they would give him more opportunities to score. But
I don't. I think he's fine without the
oh,
goals. He's
no,
bringing. He seems to be bringing so much out. He's one of those guys.
I love him. Today, someone asked. I don't know. They were doing maybe they were doing a post game. But you look at the 5 stars. You have Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin, Fox, Shesterkin.
Yeah.
Every night, I would say at least one of those guys is going to be outstanding. Usually, it's going to be Shesterkin. Fox is always outstanding. Panarin's looked really good coming off the break. Zibanejad got a goal. Kreider a little invisible, but that's okay. Like he's already
Yeah.
overperformed this year. But
Everyone has a
but we've
game or
seen
two.
though that alone, it wasn't good enough. Those
No,
5 alone was not good enough.
it's not.
And
You need a full team.
yeah,
Anyway,
and
we have gone ridiculously over here because of strike talk and let's wrap it up here. I got to eat some dinner. I don't know about you.
I'm having a rice con pollo.
Oh, nice. You know what that
We from
means?
a Mexican place nearby.
But you know what it is, right? Chicken and rice.
Yeah, chicken rice with queso. Well, we Americanized. They put a queso on it, but
I'll take it.
yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
delicious. I got to order something, so I'm starving.
Well,
But good podcast,
to show you
Matty.
this. So I wrote this. I wrote this a couple weeks ago. It would be the ideal way to end the Rangers season. So I said they go 4-3 with 7 games in February would be what you want. I looked at the schedule for this, so I did
Okay.
make realistic with how they've been playing. Well, they're
You
2-0-1.
got out your crystal ball.
Yeah, well, they're 2-0-1. I think they have 4 games left, so you want to win like 3 of them, say.
Okay, so let's hear.
And so then in March you have 15 games. It's not easy in March, but looking at that, they should ideally end 10-5. But by looking at like strength of schedule, teams, blah blah, home away, so that leaves you with 14, 8-0. along those 2 months. But now it's not going to be O. And then I said in April, a realistic April is 10-4. An ideal would be 12-2 based on the schedule, but I would go more for the 10-4. And I said a realist if they go based on what we could say realistic by looking at the schedule, they would end somewhere near like 53, 24, and 5.
Take it.
That's okay. That's
over 50 wins. I'll take.
That's half ideal, half realistic. So
Yeah,
I would say more if they could just get in the mindset of, all right, we're 31 wins, 19 out of the next 33, get to 50. That's not hard. I mean,
we all know
just
how it
over
goes.
500. That's how it is.
It's like one little tiny step at a time. We'll see.
Well, that's what I mean, because like when you look at now from a fan point of view, with what we know they're capable of. All right, you're going to a 5:00 game in Ottawa on Sunday, and you don't play till Thursday. I am going to be pissed off if they lose that game. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to lose it, especially if they lose in regulation, because if they don't play till Thursday against the Capitals at home, this is when you have to wrap up. And I say that because the Rangers can over physical them, be more physical than them, and then they'll win.
They want to do it. It's not like they don't want to.
Last question: Would you start Shesterkin or Georgiev? Because then you don't against Ottawa on Sunday.
I would start Shesterkin as much as possible, as long as there's not back-to-backs.
But that's what I was exactly. Georgiev.
All right.
Oh wait, we could try Georgiev. We forgot about that. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what his value is, but you could throw him in there too.
Couple mil.
All right, I'll see you later.